Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to show you a simple but powerful design pattern called strategy pattern and how we can use it in Kotlin to make our code more flexible and readable. We're also going to look at something called early return approach, which make logic easier to follow and avoids deep nesting. Let's get started. What is a strategy partner? The strategy partner is about defining a family of algorithms, putting each one into own class and making it interchangeable. In other words, instead of writing a bunch of if or when conditions everywhere, we can define different strategies for handling logic and swap them if in as needed. This is perfect when you have multiple ways to check something, like user access, authentication, or any kind of rule validation. Let's say, for example, here, let's say that we have this data class. So it has a name, age, is active, and has a subscription. That is, for example, so we have a system that checks if the user can access some content, if the user exists, if they are active, if they are 18 or older, and if they have a valid subscription. If all these are true, we grant access. If not, we return a specific error. Instead of writing a huge block of conditions, we're going to apply two strategies. One is traditional nested if blocks that I just call it Hadouken, and the another is using early return. Okay, and what we're gonna do here we have our interface that is gonna define the behavior. That we have a check user, that it has an user, that could be null because, like you can see here, we are checking the nullability, and we also have another values. Okay, here we have a hash map to, no, this is not a hash map, it's a pair that has a string and a boolean. So I just added this for be more easy to test. And like you can see in the code, here we have the Hadouken and early return. Both of them stem from this interface that is called test strategy. Here, like you can see, there is a deep ifs, and here is more cleaner. So for example, here we check if the user is different to null, and then we call here in this branch user not found. Then we go to another level and we check if the user is active. If the user is active, we get to another level. Otherwise, we just return inactive. Then here in this level, if the user age is older than 18, then we go to another level, and if not, we return under age. Then here we check if the user have subscription, we return granted. Otherwise, we return need subscription. But like you can see, this code is really bad. It really is really hard to understand. And even if you wanted to add another like business logic, will be a mess of code. But here we have another example that is the early return strategy, and it's called early return because you wanted to return for the function the more quick as you can. For example, here we just say if the user is null, we return user not found. If the user isn't active, we return inactive. If a user is younger than 18, we return underage. and if the user has no subscription, we return need subscription. And if we pass all these scenarios, then we have access, but this code is more cleaner than this one. Okay. And now what we're gonna do is I have a test, because for example you're gonna say this is working, is making the same that this. Yeah, and this was the reason because I added this, like these variables, to use it here, but also to use it here. Like you can see here I have a test that is gonna test this example, and it's 1 2 3 4 5 tests. He checked that if the user is null, so they expect a result, user no phone, and user inactive, undergrain, need subscription, and access granted. Okay, so this is all the tests. I'm just gonna run the test, and okay, like you can see we have passed all the tests. But what will happen if I prefer to use EarlyReturn? I just gonna change this, and like they are of the same type, I just gonna have to run this, and yeah, like you can see, even with this, we check all the tests and all the tests are working. So if you're working in a project and you have like a really nested business logic, I recommend you to use this because it's more easy to understand and it's more maintainable. Okay guys, this will be everything for this video. See you until the next time.